And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Indie Boarding Card Games has made a very fun game called The Resistance. Today we're going to be talking about the new and upgraded version. Now this will be a quicker review than my original review of The Resistance because I'm not going to go over every rule of the game. I'm just going to show you what's new in this box and whether you should get it or not. What I'm going to be doing here is not telling you how Resistance plays because I've already shown that in another video. I'm just showing you the differences between this game and the original game. You can see here there's a big size in the boxes. Inside the original was stacks for 2 cards. Here you have stacks for cards and tokens. Alright, now, The Resistance, by the way, is a great game. Just thought I would mention that. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that are pretty close to the same. We have your mission cards, whether mission succeeds or fails, are pretty much the same thing, except the new cards are a higher quality than the original cards. Not that the original cards were horrible, but the new cards are nicer quality. But they are functionally, they look very similar as you send them out. Now, one big change is these when you vote. Originally when you voted you had a set of cards that you put down, and this meant yes and no. This means yes and no much better, and these are chips. They're much easier to throw around. You use these so much during the course of a game. I was sitting here thinking how I could sleeve these. I don't need to worry about sleeving these because these are nice chips, and chips are always better than cards. And I mean, they're easy to stack, they're easy to find, they're easy to differentiate. I don't like having 10 different piles of cards per se. Chips is better. Speaking of chips, look at these. These are all different kinds of cool different guns. Instead of giving a card out to everybody who you're sending on the mission, instead you pick what gun, you just give guns to the different people. So I say, here is a gun for you, gun for you, gun for you. You 3 are the ones going out in the mission. Does it matter which gun you give each person? No. But it does add some thematic flavor to the game. Another place where the things are similar, you can see this guy's been staring at us sulkily the whole game. These are the different characters in the game, and these are the ones from the original. The artwork is the same, but the card quality here is immensely better. These are linen finished cards. Very nice, very good quality. And since these are handed out quite a bit, it's very important that they are good quality cards. Another thing that they changed the quality on is the expansion. The Plot Thickens. And the Plot Thickens gives people cards that give them special abilities that they can use during the course of the game. Well, here they've done the same thing, except they put pictures on the cards. You can see that there's different people. It's basically the same thing, but it's a much nicer looking version of it, and I like that a lot better. It gives a lot of character to these. Now, when it comes to and the starting player, isn't that nice? Very nice. The board is the big change, okay? Not that it's a functionally big change, but you have here the board, which is going to show you what missions you're on, and there's little charts all over the board. The new one has large boards, and these large boards are per number of players. Like this is an 8-player board, and this is a 7-player board. So instead of going on each mission and then looking at the chart to see how many people, you can just glimpse at the chart right here. Okay, so in the 7-player game, first there's going to be 2 people in the first mission, then 3, then 3, then 4, then 4. And 2 fails are required by mission 4, or the whole thing is a bomb. And you can see 7 players, there's 3 spies. It's very simple. You know, here's the 9-player board, here's the 10-player board, here's a 6-player board, and a 5-player board. The artwork certainly doesn't hurt things. It adds a lot of thematic flavor. And while the original game had wooden chips, which I do like the little wooden chips to keep track of failures and successes, now you have simply chips that are dual-sided, so they can be a success or a failure, while you're using another round marker to keep track here in the bottom what round it is. It's a good setup. There's not a lot of changes other than that, and it's basically cosmetic changes. So there you have it. I think that if you are comparing this to the original game of Resistance, it's a no-brainer. It wasn't like when I got Resistance, I said, oh, this is bad quality. But when I got this, I said, how did we ever live before we got this one? It's a much better quality version, but it doesn't really change the game that much.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.